Alright, what's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy ATT, the coach of the LA Lake Guardians. What are the LA Lake Guardians, you ask? Well, you come to the right place. I am, like I said, the coach of the Los Angeles Lake Guardians, the draft league team in the UPL over here. So, what is a draft league? Is that what you're asking me? Well, I have the answer for you right here. A draft league is it's essentially a Pokemon tournament that's based off of sports leagues. It's like you know how the NFL, or let's take the NBA, right? Because I'm really big on basketball. Let's say the NBA. There's like 30 teams. Each team has a roster of players that everybody knows. They have a coach that's in charge of it. They have a front office that's in charge of trading and like helping players develop and all that kind of stuff. It's basically that same concept applied to Pokemon. So when I say I'm the coach of the Los Angeles Lake Guardians, what that means is that I am the coach of the team, and there's a set of Pokemon that are on my roster that were determined through draft format. That's why it's called a draft league. And what that draft process was, basically they picked the commissioner of the league, right? He or she, or they, whatever, what they do is they kind of they randomly assign a draft order. So like you pick first, you pick second, you pick third, and when you say you pick first, you get to pick any Pokemon that you want on your team. So obviously, being the first pick is the most advantageous, because you get to pick whatever you want. And if you're suppose you pick second, right? Suppose you pick Scizor with the first pick, and whoever's after you, the second pick, he wanted Scizor. Well, sucks to be him. He can't take it. He can't have it. He cannot use Scizor the entire season because it's taken. Of course, they could trade it later on in the future, but that's a different thing. Ideally, the person, the mon is gone. Scizor is eliminated from the draft board for every single team. And only team number one, whoever picked first, gets to use that Pokemon for the entire season. So, in this way, you go through 11 rounds, you pick 11 Pokemon. So each team has one coach, a roster of 11 Pokemon. There could be a front office. The front office could help. It could be a friend of the coaches that helps them team build or stuff like that. That's something that's pretty common too, but that's not really part of the draft format itself. It's mostly just the concept that you have a limited number of Pokemon that you can use throughout the season, and your opponent has the same limited number of Pokemon, and you know what their Pokemon are. They know what your team is made of, and you kind of counter team each other. So like you know what he has, so you build your team in a way that counter teams his. He knows what you have, so he builds his team in a way that counter teams yours. So a lot of draft league success comes from the team building and from the team preparation. I'd say about like 60% of the success in the draft league would come from team building or team preparation. It's called prep. And yeah, that's basically it. And so you take turns, battling opposing teams. Week by week. It's gonna be this one, the UPL that I'm a part of. Is gonna be a 16-week long season. So that means every week for the next 16 weeks, I will be battling another team, another coach. So like I said, I'm the Los Angeles Lake Guardians. My mascot is Azelf, as you can see by this beautiful logo. Actually, it should be in the thumbnail. If not, well, I'll show it off in a second here. But yeah. Of course, my team is based on the Lakers, favorite team, favorite franchise of all time. So had to be the Lakers, had to be them. And yeah, that's basically it. So like for 16 seasons, so like we'd battle each other, we take turns, we keep track of the records at the end of the season, or at the end of 16 weeks. Whoever has the best record, they make playoffs. So there's 4 divisions, right? Each division has 4 teams under it. So I think what the commissioner is planning to do is have each division based off of one of the 4 islands of Alola, that's kind of interesting. It's just like a personal touch to make it seem kind of professional or whatever. And yeah, so the leader of each division at the end of the season, leader of each division makes playoffs for sure, no matter what their individual record is. If they're leading if they're leading their particular division, they make playoffs guaranteed. And then whoever is the second highest, of course. So the top two seeds, top two record holders, the seeds, they make the playoffs, and they're arranged in seeding order. So like the best plays the worst, second plays the second worst. It's kind of like that. So that's typically how they do. It in sports as well. So yeah, that's basically it. So let's take a look at the UPL specific rules, because of course that's just what I just explained is like the standard draft league kind of rule set. That's typically how they work. Of course, every league has its own intricacies and different rules that apply to this particular league. They all have slight differences. They're all basically the same, but there's a couple of small slight differences that can change things. So for the UPL, the biggest thing I would say that the Omni Boost Z moves are banned. So that's Z moves like Z what do you call it? Z conversion, or Z trick or treat, Z celebrate, Z happy hour. All these moves, if you Z them, right, you attach a Z crystal to them and use it. They increase your stats by 1 stage each, like all 6 stats or all 5 stats, which is crazy. That's too broken, too busted, too hard to prepare for. It's too scary, so they're just banned outright. Yeah, most draft leagues do follow that rule, because that's really like that just forces you to kind of prepare for it in a really weird way. That just makes it really hard for opposing teams to kind of be fair, and then you have 3 free agency transactions throughout the season. So what that means, so free agency transaction, again, it's just the sports team, but basically after you're done drafting your team, which I'll get to in a second. I'll get to the team that I drafted. I'll walk you through my picks and why I picked them, kind of. But once you're done with your draft, you get 3 free agency moves. Basically, that a free agency moves when you drop a Pokemon and pick another one up. Another one that's free, not somebody else's team. Another one that's free that nobody drafted. Suppose at the end of the draft nobody picks Pikachu because Pikachu's trash, and suppose you feel like using Pikachu because you're trash. So you decide to drop. Suppose you decide to drop Electivire because you picked it up first, and now you decide you don't want Electivire, you want Pikachu instead. So you just let go of Electivire. That's now on the open market. Anybody can pick it up, and you pick up Pikachu instead. So that's now on your team that nobody else can use. So that's a free agent transaction. Then there's the trade concept, of course, that comes in everywhere, where you're allowed to trade Pokemon with each other with opposing teams. It's a 1-for-1 kind of trade. Most of the time it's mutually beneficial. Sometimes teams get finessed. It happens. But yeah, you're allowed to trade as many times as you want. There's no cap, no rules, no regulation on that. And of course, you're not allowed to trade after the playoffs begin. After the season ends and the playoffs begin, you're not allowed to trade anymore. That makes sense, because of course you're going into the playoffs and if you don't know what your opponent has, that could just be like really bad. So no trades after playoffs, pretty standard. Of course, you get 1 mega Pokemon per team. You have to have a mega. You can't just like be like, screw the mega, I don't want it. You have to have at least 1 mega. Actually, you have to have exactly 1 mega. You can't have more than that, because that would be crazy. You get 11 picks, like I said, so there's 11 Pokemon per team. Out of those 11, one is a mega, and 3 are Z move users. You don't have to pick all 3 necessarily. You can just be 1, 2, but of course it's better to pick 3. And only those Digimon are allowed to use Z moves for the entire season. You can switch them up once. I think you have 1 opportunity to swap a Z user, but for the most part, you're basically stuck with it. So once you declare 3 Pokemon that they're quote-unquote Z captains, those are the only ones allowed to use Z crystals. So your Mega has to hold the Mega Stone no matter what. He doesn't have to Mega Evolve on the first turn. You can wait. You don't have to click Mega Evolution at all, but it has to be holding the stone. But the Z move users, you do not need to hold the crystal. It's just optional, but it's just an option that's not there for your other team. There are other Pokemon on your team. Anyway, so let's get into my team here. Like I said, the LA Lake Guardians. This is the thumbnail the logo that I was talking about, that my boy, my good friend Jaded Jellicent designed for me. Look at it. It looks so beautiful. It looks so cool. That little Azelf, it looks so cute. flying over the Lakers kind of logo there. The actual Lakers logo has the basketball, of course, and he made that into an ultra ball, and that looks really sick. I think looks really cool. So shout out to him. If you like his work, go ahead and check him out. I will leave a link to his Twitter, his YouTube channel, and his DeviantArt. So go ahead and check him out. Show him some love. Much appreciated. And okay, let's get right into my draft. So right off the bat, like I said, I had pick number 7 in this, and I used it on one of my favorite Pokemon right now, Tapu Koko. So Tapu Koko, we all know what it does, right? It's fast, it hits hard, physical, special, anything. It gets good amount of utility, good amount of support. It gets Taunt, which is pretty important. It gets Volt Switch and U-Turn both, which are really important. It gets Roost, it gets Defog, so it can do a whole lot of things. It gets Reflecting Light Screen as well. That can be kind of useful. Yeah, it's just a versatile, well-rounded Pokemon that can do a whole lot and can hit pretty hard. Is a fairy type, of course. I think that was important. I wanted a good, strong fairy type because there's not a lot of them. There's like, the 3 Tapus, well, actually 2 Tapus, because like Tapu Bulu doesn't get fairy type moves really. So, and then Tapu Lele is banned. So really, Tapu Koko was like the only good one. Tapu Fini is the option, but it's not. It doesn't have that much of an offensive presence. So I went for Tapu Koko, the best one in my opinion. My favorite one, definitely. And then I decided to go with Magearna with my 2nd round pick. I don't know how Magearna slipped to 2nd round. In fact, I don't know why it's allowed. Not gonna lie, most draft leagues do ban Magearna because it's really broken. It's really overpowered. In my opinion, I myself did vote for ban before we started the draft, but evidently, I was outvoted. Most people did say that it would be okay. It wasn't too bad. So I decided to pick it up myself because I'm like, if you really want this broken Pokemon to just be chilling in the league, I think it should be on my team. So yeah, I myself did vote ban. I do think it's too good to be in draft format because it's so hard to prepare for. It has such good coverage, has such good stats. It hits really hard with that 130 special attack, 115 defenses. So you can go defensive, bulky kind of set with it. You can go offensive, it gets access to Calm Mind. It can be a pretty scary sweeper. And the biggest thing is, of course, the Steel Fairy typing, amazing defensive typing, amazing offensive typing, and the Fairy, again, like I said. And the busted ability in Soul Heart. Every time you get a KO, you get a special attack boost. So it just lets you steamroll through through opponents. Opposing teams. So yeah, I know I had a fairy type and a steel type, so I decided to pick up a dragon type to have a solid dragon, steel, and fairy core. That's something really good because they kind of patch up each other's weaknesses. Like Tapu Koko being a fairy type is weak to poison, and so Magearna being a steel type kind of takes care of that. A steel type that would typically be weak to fighting, of course. Magearna is not weak to fighting, but it doesn't appreciate hits. Tapu Koko resists them being a fairy type, so that kind of coverage is good. Again, like there's a dragon type, my dragon type, which I picked Zygarde. There's opposing like ice type moves aimed at this thing. Magearna is always a good switch into it, so a lot of it's just good synergy, good it's a good core. Dragon Steel Fairy core is always good. I decided to pick Zygarde. I actually did want Kyurem Black originally, as I'll get Wall Breaker, but I got sniped. Somebody took it before me, so I was kind of forced to take Zygarde. I mean, it's not bad. I like this mon. It's good. It's one of the best Pokemon. In OU, it's really spammable with Thousand Arrows because nothing is immune to it. A couple of resistances and grass types, but that's basically it. So Zygarde 50, good mon, good balanced type of mon. It's not too fast, not too broken, not too strong, not too fat, not too anything, but it's a good balance of everything. So I really like it. Good Pokemon, fits my playstyle very well, and that's something that was really important to me. I wanted to pick something that I was comfortable with, so I picked Mega Charizard X. That's probably outside of maybe Mega Pinsir, and probably those are two megas that I'm most comfortable using. I'd say Mega Gyarados is another one too. I really like using that as well, but Mega Lopunny as well. actually. But Mega Charizard, I wanted to throw back to like Goras, back when I used to use this thing all the time. It was on all of my teams. I was really good with it. I really liked it. Something I'm really comfortable using. So I decided to pick it up again. Because I think that's really important, like I said, in draft format, to know what your team is capable of doing, right? You don't want to be caught off guard. And you realize, oh, I thought this would have killed, but it didn't. So you have to be really familiar with the Pokemon you're using. So I decided to pick up Mega Charizard X, one of my favorites, one of my classic kind of Pokemon. It's a fire type, which was the beginning of my next core, the Fire, Water, Grass core. So after the Dragon Steel Fairy type core, it's gonna be the Fire, Water, Grass core. Before I continue with that core, though, I decided to pick up Thundurus Incarnate because it's something that I was thinking about. It's something that I believe has it's really versatile, which is something that's really big in draft format, especially with your top picks. Your later picks can be a little bit one-dimensional. That's okay because you're typically not going to be bringing them too much. If it's something that's really good at one thing, and then in case of a matchup in which you want to use that one thing, you can bring that Pokemon. So in the beginning, Thundurus, pretty versatile. Can be a physical attacker, can be a special attacker. Gets good utility options, with Prankster, Defog, Taunt, Thunder Wave, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's basically it. I just liked it. It's something I wanted to try something new, like all these Pokemon like Coco, Gear, Zygarde, Charizard X. These are things that I can use in my sleep. I've been using them since they came out. So I decided to pick up Thunder, something new. I wanted to be a little bit of fresh, or else it would just be the same stale kind of stuff that I see on the ladder, which I didn't want. Anyway, so I decided to pick up Amoonguss here to continue with my Fire, Water, Grass core. Just I'm picking up the bulky grass type in Amoonguss. I actually did want Ferrothorn here, but unfortunately that did get picked before me, so I was forced to take Amoonguss, which is fine. It does have the regenerator option, it does have the effect spore option as well in some circumstances. It's kind of bulky, it's kind of fat, it can spread sleep using spore. It's another fairy resist. Like I said, fairy is an amazing offensive typing, and Amoonguss is good. Is a good way to deal with opposing fairies. It gets clear smog to deal with opposing setup spam. It's really helpful. I think it does a lot of good things. And yeah, it's just bulky. It's kind of fat. It's really reliable Pokemon. I decided to go with Slowbro to round out my Fire, Water, Grass core and create a regen core with Amoonguss. So both of them get regenerator. That's when you switch out, you get 30% of your health back, which is invaluable, especially to something that's fat. They both also get reliable recovery and synthesis and slack off respectively. So that's something that was really, that really excited me. They're both just reliable Pokemon. I did want Alomomola to instead of Slowbro. Also got regenerator because I could Wish Pass to something on my team, which I couldn't do here with Slowbro. But I decided to go with Slowbro because of the offensive presence. It wouldn't just be setup fodder like most fat Pokemon. They're really passive. And so I picked up Slowbro because at least it has like 100 special attacks. At least it's not just sitting there doing no types of damage. So yeah, and I decided, so now that I needed a Wish Passer here, I went for Chansey, the best one out there, I think, in my opinion. It's just so fat, especially on the split def side, like it's crazy. So went for Chansey. I actually realized that Chansey is my only stealth rocker so far, which was a little bit of an issue to me. I really didn't like, forcing chances. I really didn't like not having rocks, especially in like a singles format. So I decided to pick up Chansey. Something that should be a valuable pickup, I think, for me. It's just that, again, it's fat. It does a lot. It does a lot of different stuff in terms of utility. It gets aromatherapy. It can spread paralysis, spread poison. It's really helpful. I decided to go with Hawlucha for my next pick. After all that fat crap, the last 3 picks were just like stall kind of stuff. I wanted something a little bit more offensive, something that fits my playstyle a little bit more, like my beginning did. So I decided to pick something that paired really well with Tapu Koko, and that's Hawlucha. Electric Seed Hawlucha with Unburden can be very, very scary. I'm surprised Hawlucha lasted this long. To be honest, because Tapu Fini and Tapu Bulu did get picked, so I thought that core could have been really scary, but I got it myself, which is amazing. Yeah, that's just something something that seemed really fun to use. You know, it's kind of one-dimensional, like I said, but it's really good at what it does, and it's like a late game kind of cleaner or a wall breaker if you get to set up with it. Get to set up SD with it. So it's really one-dimensional in that sense, but at the same time it's really hard to prepare for, unless you have like a dedicated counter to Halucha. It could basically just sweep you. So that's something that could be really fun, I think. I don't know how often I'll bring it, but it's good to have something powerful in the back coming off the bench. Speaking of bench, I decided to go with Honchkrow with my second to last pick. And Honchkrow is something like, at this point most of the good mons were taken. Most of the ones that we typically see, they're all gone. So I decided to go with Honchkrow. It's something fun. It hits really hard, actually, surprisingly hard. Boosted by that 125 attack, 105 special attack. So again, another mixed set. So I'm trying to have a versatile team. You know, everything that can be as effective as possible. I don't want it to be one-dimensional in any way. But yeah, it's a good sucker punch user. It gets Moxie, which is again can be really scary. So it's good at that. It's good at cleaning up in the late game, just spamming sucker punch. You know, it gets defog again, which is another important thing. Apart from Thunders, I didn't want Thunders to be the only one to be forced into that role. So Honchkrow is something I can see. I don't know how often I'll bring it, but it's something cool. In the last slot, I did pick Ursaring, but immediately after the draft finished, I swapped it out. I used my first free agency transaction already, and I swapped out Ursaring with Hippowdon. I don't have Hippowdon on the slide here, but you all know what it does. A big fat hippo, the ground type, it brings sand. I didn't really care for the sand here. I just really want another rocker because, like I said, Chansey is like the only one I have here, and I don't want to force it into that role. So yeah, I went with Hippowdon. It's another kind of bulky mon that has some amount of offensive presence. It has like 112, I think, attack, if I'm not mistaken. So that's good. It hits reasonably hard for a bulky mon. It also gets reliable recovery in the form of slack off as well. So it gets whirlwind and roar to phase out, setup, spam. It gets good coverage options, you know, Ice Fang, Thunder Fang, Fire Fang, so that's really good. It's really helpful. Gets Stone Edge plus Earthquake again. Obviously, that's a good offensive pairing as well. So, yeah, that's my team here. I hope you guys kind of like it. I guess if you guys have any kind of criticism, let me know. I still have 2 more picks in free agency and a whole lot of trades that I can make to kind of patch my team up. I do see a couple of weaknesses here, but I don't want to go too in depth into them obviously here, because I don't want, like I said before, I don't want to give my opponents an advantage that they may not notice on their own. I don't want to point it out for them, but like, hey, look, my team is bad at this, you should do this. I don't want to do that. If it gets figured out, good for them. If not, oh well, that's the game we play. But yeah, I'm gonna try to patch a couple of things up, but let me know what you guys think of this draft. I pretty much just picked Pokemon that I'm comfortable using. The only thing that's kind of new to me is Hippowdon and like Thundurus and Chansey. Actually, I've used Chansey a little bit too. So I'm pretty happy with my team. I like the synergy. I like the options, the different versatility that I have on it. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit that like button if you didn't like the video. I don't care. Just hit that like button and subscribe if you're new, because I have a feeling that I'll be getting a couple of new subscribers from the little exposure that I'll get from the UPL. So that should be really interesting, really exciting. I'm really excited to actually to play in this draft league. You can expect a week 1 team builder video to be out pretty soon, where I'll kind of break down the team that I'm going to be using week 1. I don't know who I'm going up against just yet. I suspect that result should be out pretty soon. At least I should be able to. I'll know who I'm playing pretty soon. So once I'm ready with my team, I'll talk to my front office. Like I said, I do have a couple of people in mind that I think will help me out. And yeah, once I'm ready, I'll have a team builder up in probably in a day or so, and then the week 1 matchup will also be out by then. So hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Stay tuned for a whole lot of really good Pokemon battling. It's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited. Hope you guys are too. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.